Bhagavad Gita, Shloka 4.6. I'm
Okay.
reading the verse. Ajopi san avyayatma.
Ajopi san
San
avyayatma.
Advyatatma.
Ajopi san avyayatma.
Ajopi san
San
avyayatma.
Avyayatma.
Bhutanam Ishwaropi san.
Once again.
Bhutanami Sharo
Ishwaropi san.
Bhuta
Bhutanam Ishwaropi san.
Bhutanam
Bhutana
Ishwaropi
Ishwaropi
san.
San
Prakritim sav Prakritim swam adhishtaya.
Prakritim
Prakritim swam
Swam
adhishtaya.
Adhishtaya
Prakritim swam adhishtaya.
Prakritim
Prakritim
swam adhishtaya.
Swadhimashtaya
Sambhavami Atma Mayaya.
Sambhavami
Sambhavyamyaya
Atma
Maya
Mayaya.
Sambhavami Atma Mayaya.
Sambhavami
Sambhavami
Atma Mayaya.
Atmamayaya.
Okay. Anybody want to try?
No, Nero, you
Pratik.
go with synonyms.
Okay. So I'm going ahead with synonyms.
Yes.
Aja, unborn. Api, although. Sun, being so. Avyaya, without deterioration. Atma, body. Bhutanam, of all those who are born. Ishvaraha, the Supreme Lord. Api, although. Sun, being so. Prakritim, in the transcendental form. Swam, of myself. Adhishtaya, being so situated. Sambhavami, I do incarnate. Atma Maya, Mayaya, by my internal energy. Translation: although I am unborn and my transcendental body never deteriorates, and although I am the Lord of all living entities, I still appear in every millennium in my original transcendental form. Purport. Somebody wants to read it?
Purport of 4.6 Sloka of Bhagavad Gita. The Lord has spoken about the peculiarity of his birth. Although he may appear like an ordinary person, he remembers everything of his many past births. Whereas a common man cannot remember what he has done even a few hours before. If someone is asked what he did exactly at the same time one day earlier, it could be very difficult for a common man to answer immediately. He would surely have to dredge his memory to recall what he was doing exactly at the same time one day before. And yet, men often dare to claim to be God or Krishna. One should not be misled by such meaningless claims. Okay, I stop here. I add to you.
Okay. So here, the next line also we can read actually.
Okay, then again, the Lord explains his prakriti or his form. Prakriti means nature as well as swarupa or one's own form.
Okay. So until here we will stop until one's own form. So in this shloka, Bhagavad Gita 4.6, what we are looking in this chapter is about the transcendental knowledge. This entire chapter of Bhagavad Gita 4 is talking about the time immemorial, beyond the human experiences, beyond this particular physical being as a transcendental knowledge. In the first few shlokas, what we are seeing here is in these shlokas like 4.1, 4.2, 4.3, and now in 4.6, it is establishing its own credibility. Bhagavan here is establishing the credibility of this time immemorial knowledge. In this particular shloka, Lord Shri Krishna is highlighting about the transcendental knowledge, where he himself is saying that although I am unborn and my transcendental body never deteriorates, and although I am the Lord of all living entities, I still appear in every millennium in my original transcendental form. So here he is specifically highlighting that since time immemorial, this knowledge has been shared from in the disciplinic fashion. It is coming in a very disciplinic fashion, and irrespective of the physical body which is existing, this knowledge is being shared by the pure consciousness one after the other in time immemorial. Here the word we have to highlight here is his prakriti. This is the word which we have to understand. Of course, we have to understand we are not in his the common memory which is existing. This memory cannot be compared to a normal human being memory. Like it's being very clearly said that we do not remember what is happening yesterday, what we had yesterday, or what are the activities we would have done at a specific time. Our memory is quite short in such a context. Whereas the superior memory of Lord Shri Bhagavan or the Paramatman is time immemorial, because he himself is the pure consciousness. We cannot compare his memory to a ordinary Atman's memory. This is a time immemorial memory. It is a continuum of the consciousness. Therefore, he is ever existing, and every time there is this consciousness of the Supreme Parabrahman. Now, what we have to understand here, then again, the Lord explains his Prakriti or his form. Prakriti means nature as well as Swarupa of one's own form. So here the Lord is explaining about the Prakriti or the nature or the Swarupa of the original consciousness of the Parabrahman. So please continue with the purpose.
The Lord says that he appears in his own body. He does not change his body as the common living entity changes from one body to another. The conditioned soul may have one kind of
Body in the present birth.
no, it is just a minute. It got
Okay, here you're here.
Okay. The conditioned soul may have one kind of body in the present birth, but he has a different body in the next birth. In the material world, the living entity has no fixed body, but transmigrates from one body to another. The Lord, however, does not do so. Whenever he appears, he does in the same original body by his internal potency. In other words, Krishna appears in this material world in his original eternal form with two hands holding a flute. He appears exactly in his eternal body, uncontained, uncontaminated by this material world. Although he appears in the same transcendental body and is Lord of the universe, it still appears that he takes his birth like an ordinary living entity. And although his body does not deteriorate like a material body, it still appears that Lord Krishna grows from childhood to boyhood and from boyhood to youth. But astonishingly enough, he never ages beyond youth.
at the time of the battle of Kurukshetra.
Okay, at the time, okay, where it is, at the
Yeah.
time of the battle of Kurukshetra, he had many grandchildren at home, or in other words, he had sufficiently aged by material, body, and
Calculations.
intelligence.
No, by material calculations.
By where it is, okay, by material calculations. Still, he looked just like a young man, 20 or 25 years old. We never see a picture of Krishna in old age because he never grows old like us. Although he is the oldest person in the whole creation, past, present, and future. Neither his body nor his intelligence ever deteriorates
Or changes.
or,
Or,
or changes. Therefore,
okay.
it is clear that in spite of his being in the material world, he is the same unborn, eternal form of bliss and knowledge, changeless in his transcendental body and intelligence. Shall I stop here?
Yeah. Okay. Sandeep, somebody wants to read? Okay.
That is
Factually, his appearance, audible, na? Everyone?
Audible.
Factually, his appearance and disappearance are like the sun's rising, moving before us and then from our eyesight. When the sun is out of sight, we think that the sun has set, and when the sun is before our eyes, we think that the sun is on the horizon. Actually, the sun is always in its fixed position, but owing to our defective, insufficient senses, we calculate the appearance and disappearance of the sun in the sky. And because Lord Krishna's appearance and disappearance are completely different from that of any ordinary, common living entity, it is evident that he is eternal, blissful knowledge by his eternal potency. And he is never contaminated by material nature. The Vedas also confirm that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is unborn yet. He still appears to take his birth in multi manifestations. The Vedic supplementary literatures also confirm that even though the Lord appears to be taking his birth, he is still without change of body. In the Bhagavatam, he appears before his mother as Narayana with 4 hands and the decoration of the 6 hands of full opulences. His appearance in his original eternal form is his causeless mercy bestowed upon the living entities so that they can concentrate on the Supreme Lord as He is and not on mental concoctions or imaginations, which the impersonalist wrongly thinks the Lord's form to be. The word Maya or Atma Maya refers to the Lord's causeless mercy, according to the Visvakosa dictionary. The Lord is conscious of all of his previous appearances and disappearances, but a common living entity forgets everything about his past body as soon as he gets another body. He is the Lord of all living entities because he performs wonderful and superhuman activities while he is on this earth. Therefore, the Lord is always the same absolute truth and is without differentiation between his form and self, or between his quality and body. A question may now be raised as to why the Lord appears and disappears in this world. This is explained in the next verse.
Okay,
Yeah.
Anand. Thank you. Actually, this particular shloka, when we are relooking the entire thing, um, as Bhagavad Gita shloka 4.6, it's luckily in few seconds, I've seen something just now. So I'll share those things with you. Hopefully, we will. You will be able to see what I have just seen. Uh, just seen. Okay. So here, when Lord is saying in this shloka 4.6, although I am unborn and my transcendental body never deteriorates, and although I am the Lord of all living entities, I still appear in every millennium in my original transcendental form. This is such a nice thing where Prabhupada is also saying how he is coming in his own beautiful form, in the form with two hands and flute. That is the one which has caught my attention at this point in time, because this particular sentence, while I was doing my Gayatri Sadhana, I have seen something. I will share that with you right now. So we as human beings right now, we are viewing the transcendental knowledge in this Bhagavad Gita chapter 4, 6th shloka. When we are looking at the transcendental knowledge, we want to look beyond the body, beyond just only one tiny Atman. We are looking at the Parabrahma, at the Brahmanda, at the multitudes of Brahmandas, where during meditation we will be observing ourselves not in the form of a physical body, but we will be able to see ourselves in the form of energy body, in our pure self. So during one such meditation, how did I see it? I will come back to that uh, after just sharing this particular incidence of Lord Krishna himself. At the time of birth, originally, when it was being exchanged for Lord Krishna to be born, the Parashakti was born there, where Kamsa was holding to kill the eighth child. At that particular point in time, with the exchange which has happened, it was the Parashakti which was there, which was born. So when he holds to kill that Parashakti, it just blows up. Boom. It just blows up and then says where Lord Krishna is. It says that Lord Krishna is still there. I am not the one. There is the one who is there to take care of you, to finish you, for example. Now, if we put this incidence into our life, put this incidence into our lives, and then we see it. Boom. The moment we realize that we want to kill these Arishad Vargas which are existing, if with the proper guidance of a guru, with the proper guidance of the practicing processes which are existing within ourselves, we will see that there is a surge of energy which happens in our body, and then it disappears. The moment it disappears, after some time, we start seeing ourselves, our shat chakras, in the form of a flute. In the form of a flute. This is how I have seen during my meditation. One of my meditations, not during the discussion of Bhagavad Gita, nothing. So the way our entire energy body is acting, it is acting like a flute. Edu swaralo, edu swaralo. Each hole which is existing, the moment you start putting your fingers and then playing on it, 1, 2, 3. Sari Gama Pada Ni Sa
Sorry, Niranjan.
Sa Ni Da Pa Ma Ga Re Sa. So every individual is playing at a swara level, at a different swara level. And these swaras, if we see into the Vedic literature, it says that the swarupa of Parabrahma is Swaram. The swarupa of Parabrahma is Swaram. So if my individual body in the form of a swara, in the form of a flute, if it is playing, it is ever existing. It never dies. It is ever existing because I am no more there. Similar is the case. I just ask you to come to my thinking box. If you are there, Anand is there, for example, or Sandeep is there, or Satish is there, or Madhu is there, or all the human beings who are existing, each one is a flute already within themselves. It is already, they are all playing their forms. And all these entities together is the master Parabrahman which is playing. If we look at it that way, the transcendental knowledge which is existing is asking us to identify ourselves. But it is so damn difficult to identify ourselves because we need the right gurus, we need the right practices, we need the right processes for us to identify ourselves, for us to create that kind of an awareness which is needed to identify and become one with the transcendental form. It's so damn difficult. That is the reason also he's saying that the people who are there outside start saying that they are one with them, all the Dungi people. Unless otherwise, we do not do these kind of practices on a regular basis, identify within ourselves that kind of a rhythm, that kind of a swara, which is in tandem with the Prakriti. It is in rhythm with the Prakriti. It is in with rhythm with the Prakriti. Then the transcendental knowledge starts dawning into this finite body. With this limited finite body, we will be able to experience the supreme transcendental knowledge, which is everlasting. It never dies. It never dies. We cannot compare our small memories with the supreme consciousness memory. We cannot. We cannot identify ourselves doing great leelas with this finite body doing infinite kind of an leelas. Leelas are nothing but they are all the playtimes. Our life in this is created in the form of a play. It is in the form of a game. It is in the form of a game which is it's being created. Game doesn't mean to say we take it with our Arishad Vargas. Means we in this finite body take it with our ego. We take it with our greed. We take it with our passions. But the infinite consciousness doesn't take it with any of these Arishad Vargas. It is beyond that because it is playing. We are identifying ourselves in this finite body with a great ego, forgetting that there is the supreme Parabrahman who is existing beyond these Arishadvagas, and it is a play. But with the right sportsmanship, with the right spirit of sportsmanship, if we see every scenario, every moment by moment, that this is a game which we are playing ourselves. There is nothing called as sorrow. There is nothing called as happiness. There is nothing called as greed. There is nothing called as abundance. Everything is already there in this particular thing. This is the knowledge which, with awareness, if we are there in this body, automatically whatever we need will come into our life automatically. That is the beauty about this sloka. It is quite a deep kind of a meaning which this sloka is giving. 4.6. It is talking about the transcendental form. We need to understand this very clearly, that this particular knowledge of the transcendental is unborn. That means that it is ever existing. This knowledge is ever existing. We have to understand this. Second thing, it never deteriorates. What is not deteriorating? The knowledge is not deteriorating. What is this body? If I confuse this body with a physical body, then we are wrong. This body is the body of the transcendental knowledge, which is ever existing. Therefore, it is ever youthful, ever young. This body of knowledge is always fresh. Today, a new knowledge you are getting, it's a fresh thing. Tomorrow you are learning something, it is freshly there. Day after tomorrow you get another knowledge, it's again fresh, it is everlasting. That's why Veda says that it is a repository of knowledge that is always young. It always takes it as it is going. It's in umpteen loop. It is in an umpteen loop, ever in a spiral, growing and growing. This knowledge is what is ever existing, and it never deteriorates. And although I am the Lord of all living entities, this is where we have to understand. Parabrahma as a supreme consciousness is all the Lord, because the original knowledge is coming through this transcendental knowledge. But when I, in this infinite body, with my limited knowledge and all my Arishad Vargas, I am thinking that I know everything. No, I know everything. That is what is the difference which is happening. Therefore, only when we do our sadhanas, we try to identify our own original transcendental form through these Shat Chakras. Once we start identifying ourselves through the Shat Chakras, the flute starts playing in us. The flute starts playing in us. The knowledge comes naturally. We don't have to refer to anything. The knowledge naturally comes into this system. That is the beauty which it's saying. But in order to get such kind of thing, it still appears in I still appear in every millennium. Now this millennium, when we want to understand, is a time frame. This is a time frame. There are two ways of looking at this millennium. One is the regular timeline, what we are seeing in our day-to-day life, where it is being referred, I have a morning and a night, and there is a period of my life. This is one way of looking at it, and then there is a count which is happening. There is another way of looking at it, is the millennium which is happening within our own self. Within our own self. Because when we start doing this sadhana, when we start identifying ourselves with the chakras which are existing, there is a number of deaths, there is a number of births which are happening. Because every time we try to identify becoming one with the Parabrahman, and then there are these Arishad Vargas or our day-to-day activities which are killing us, we fall down. The time stops and the time expands. This is the millennium which is happening within our own being. This millennium is happening within our own being until we become conscious with the Supreme Parabrahman conscious. There the time stops. It's like this. In a deep dream stage, we will not be knowing that what is the timeline. We see people small, young, then they become, adult, then they die. There is another birth which is happening. So many scenarios which are happening in the dream. But all this dream is happening only when we sleep. So it's only 1 hour, or maybe it is about few minutes. but it appears that it is the entire timeline which has completed. Same is the case when we look into ourselves and when we are in deep meditation stages where we try to cross these borderlines and become in a transcendental state, we see that the time stops. Time at the same time expands into millennium. It's at the same instance, both things are happening. This is the experience what we will gain through these specific processes, specific practices which are being highlighted. Probably it will come in the future. When the time comes, probably we will know about it. But if you have the right guru, a spiritual guru, and a sadhana for you to practice, you will experience this. You will identify the flute within and the swara within. I think for me, this is the beautiful take. It's a wonderful vision which I've just seen when Anand was talking. The flute has really inspired me. Last time when I was doing the Gayatri Mantra Sadhana, this is what I have seen and I've shared it with you. Hopefully, this Shloka 4.6 helps us in understanding this transcendental knowledge with our energy body, our own flute, where the Vedas say that Swaram, the nature of the Atman, is the Swaram. If we can identify this, the Swaram through this flute, I think we are progressing in towards the transcendental knowledge without any kind of disturbance or bewilderment, both in our body, mind, and Atman stage. This is my take on 4.6. With this, I close my comments. Thank you.
You should see Niranjan describe Lord Krishna's form. I have discussed with Niranjan in private in other sessions. I think there is nobody who can describe the Lord's form and his beauty better than Niranjan.
Mute. Niranjan,
Yeah, I'm able to hear.
very beautifully you have described that. I earlier when you posted this in the evening, I quickly just saw a glance of it and what is it about. But then I knew that the interpretation part of it.
Huh.
How to interpret this? That I'm very backward in that. I told Niranjan as an answer for that. Very beautifully told that.
Yeah, thank you.
Very nicely. Excellent.
Yeah, sure.
That
Thank you.
Swaralu you told, na, how we all play at the different levels.
Your
Very
explanation
adequate.
has made Madhu
Yeah.
very emotional. I can see tears in his eyes.
Oh.
But tears come here. We are also crying inside. Crying. nahi. It moved us actually, in fact.
Yeah, thank
It
you.
has moved. It has moved us.
Mm.
That should be the impact when we do an activity based on spiritual practice. It should shake us.
Madhu,
It should move
Madhu,
us.
तेरा आवाज नहीं आ रहा बिल्कुल भी.
No words to explain. No words.
Yeah.
Nice.
मधु तू जो भी बोला
Uh,
कुछ भी समझ में नहीं आया, सुनाई नहीं दिया. I don't know if others heard it. I didn't hear it.
मेरे को भी सुनाई नहीं दी.
No words.
No, it was no more words for that. He's running out of words to express what. That's it.
इसलिए हम लोग म्यूट पे रहना ही अच्छा है. तो इसलिए तुम हमारे को पूछना नहीं है. पूरा ऐसा एक्सप्लेनेशन देने के बाद you have any views बोल के नहीं पूछना हम लोग को and embarrass us. And now today you have got your daughter. Today you have, as if that was not enough, you have got your daughter also to embarrass us in front of her.
And she is there in somewhere else, and then she's on 4. I don't know whether she's listening or there. Or, I don't know.
I am listening.
हाँ कहीं नहीं जाएगी भाई.
So please don't think your papa's friends are dumb. Just that in this field we are amateurs, so that is the reason we are taking coaching from your father. Otherwise, we are intelligent people.
We need helping hands, not hands in the at the mental level. Then what does mean? This means like that, right? Acha, okay, right. In that way.
Mm.
Strong, Papa.
Yeah, good.
Good, nice.
You're really
अच्छा
just
था.
like Niru.
మధు నిజంగానే కళ్ళలో నీళ్ళు తిరుగుతున్నాయి బాగా.
Yeah, Madhu's
Madhu,
mood.
your
Yeah.
voice is for me also. నాకు కూడా తిరుగుతున్నాయి కళ్ళలో నీళ్ళు. Same. Madhu, your voice clear లేదు Madhu. Hello?
It's clear now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's clear.
I'm basically a emotional guy. Very, very emotional.
Understand.
Fine. That's what then. No words for your explanation. I cannot express my thoughts in words. It's above words,
Thank you.
which I cannot.
Because this is very nice.
Personally, मेरे को क्या लगा when you were explaining, it seemed like that you are in a trance. You yourself did not know what you were talking. वो अपने आप आ रहा था. Anand tried to interrupt you a couple of times. You didn't hear him also, and he left. He wanted to say goodbye, but
मेरे को सुनाई नहीं दिया सही भी.
that's what I'm
मेरे को भी
saying.
सुनाई नहीं दिया.
You were in a trance at that time.
I was
When you were talking about that flute thing that time.
Sandeep.
Because I was already closing my eyes. I was not here.
Sandeep.
Definitely, I was not here.
Sandeep.
Bol Madhu.
Along with trance of Niru, he has also taken everyone of trance.
Right.
Blessing. Blessing. No, that's the beauty. If we all can have this kind of a journey together. చూడు ఇప్పుడు ఇంకా నా ఒళ్ళంతా ఇలాగా ఇంకా that jal-ness is there in my body. ऐसा अभी भी वो shivering है मेरे body में अभी भी. So I was just meditating. I was praying to Lord. I'm seeing Krishna like that. Like अभी भी मेरे को ऐसे ही आंसू आ रहे हैं अभी भी. See, that's the beauty about Bhagavad Gita. That's the beauty about this transcendental knowledge. एक बार अपन कनेक्ट हो गए ना, उसको अपन देखते रहते. We will see it in so many forms, so many beauty. So one bit, and then we are connected. Kada. Our moment is the pure blessing. That small moment is the pure blessing. That fraction of a second, for that fraction of a second, is what this sadhana is all about. The sadhana, the practices, the processes is for that split second. That second. That's all. Sadhana, that entire practice is only for that. And for that, what I've realized, the definition of aum,
Yeah, exactly.
really helps us a lot. But we have to see
correct.
aum in that form. अपने को वो फॉर्म में दिखना चाहिए.
It should strike at 3 levels.
उसके बारे में we have to understand the deeper meaning of aum. The moment we understand, we will be able to connect.
Correct.
We don't understand.
When you sit in meditation, you will move like that.
You will connect.
हिल जाते हैं, physically will move that.
Very
चट करके करंट मारता.
हाँ. और कहाँ पे कनेक्ट होते हैं पता है अपन? We connect the moment we say how it goes. For example, if you want to do the practice, I can share one of the practice what I do. For example, we do it like. Are you able to see me?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. So how it goes is it's like a wave, you know. It's like a wave. So if I am sitting here in the body, I touch it in front of me, for example, and then say, for example, if this is the body which is sitting, and then you touch in the floor, and then say, that जो है ना, वो नीचे से जाके अपने को loop complete करता है.
Reverberation आना वो. Yeah, I've done that.
touch point कर लेंगे ना, so we will be in a complete ball. Our body will be in a complete ball, and we will be sitting here.
Yeah.
Om के अंदर अपन बैठ जाते हैं अपन.
Correct.
And then
I learned it in Sadhguru's meditation, that practice of how to do that.
I see. Very good.
There he told how you should connect, which angles, at which level you will connect, and how the reverberation should come. It's right. It's all the 3 levels, no? 3 places.
So actually, मेरे को कोई सिखाया ही नहीं this particular thing. But when I was doing my Gayatri Mantra sadhana, na, it has just come like that. It just comes like that. It will teach you. वो बता देगा, अरे ये ऐसा करना चाहिए. It tells you.
That 3 letters A, O, M, itself is not actually Om. It's in it at 3 level पे आना वो.
हाँ ना.
लेके आना
बहुत-
उसको. Your
हाँ.
words, it should stop there, it should rise there, it should end there.
हाँ. But
It
we
comes
must
by
not.
practice, it will come. It will come.
And other thing is we must not enter too much technical. अपन नहीं जाना चाहिए. अपन अपना feeling के साथ में जाना चाहिए.
Ah, yes, feelings के साथ
With the
ही.
feeling.
Yes,
हाँ.
yes, yes. Not
Technical
like that.
we must not follow technical. हाँ.
No,
Too
no,
much
no, that
technical
is
thing
second. No, no, sure, that is
will not
wrong.
take
That is
us.
wrong.
हाँ.
No, it will not
Then
take
logic
anywhere.
will interfere. Then
Yeah,
logic
yes,
will
yes.
interfere.
वैसा नहीं, वैसा नहीं. Yeah, yeah.
हाँ. We must not allow the logic to interfere.
Your feelings should make that voice come in that way.
बस खत्म.
Yes.
Then
Very nicely. I really get energized in that. I do it in the morning.
yeah, fantastic.
So I did it for
Super.
6 months for morning and evening, and I
Okay.
got a lot of changes perspective wise. I don't get into much of arguments, much of
Mm.
anything. To the extent where I should get anger, I should tell them. ना गुस्सा में बोलना ही चाहिए ना. Only to that
That's
extent.
true. Okay, good.
That would be a beginning. More to come, in fact. The baby
Then-
steps taken into meditation.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay.
Chalo,
Shall we
good. So
call it
we
a
will stop it here.
session or